So there's one thing I want to say very quickly before I start this review for the Zhiyun Smooth X, is that this tripod here doesn't come with this product. I needed something for the Zhiyun to stay on the table because it doesn't come with its own little tripod. So that's the reason it's sitting on there, is so you guys can see it better. Anyway, let's get on with the review. Mobile phone video content creation has been on a steep rise for the past few years now. From the humble beginnings of Vine right through to TikTok, people are creating so much more content on a daily basis than ever before. But you'll also notice that when you shoot video with your mobile phone, most of the time it's probably being done handheld. And while the inbuilt stabilization of modern mobile phones can cut out most of that off-putting camera shake, it doesn't get rid of it completely, especially if you're in the midst of action. Now this is where a product like the Zhiyun Smooth X comes in. The Zhiyun Smooth X is classed as a portable device simply because it is so small. The gimbal itself, when folded down to its smallest size, measures at roughly 15 centimeters, which is small enough to fit inside a backpack when you're off on a trip somewhere. So the actual gimbal itself unfolds into 3 different sections which aid in its 2-axis stabilization. There's movement on the actual handle, as well as movement on the top clamp where the phone is held in place. The stem itself can rotate into 2 different positions, one that sits at 90 degrees and the second that sits at 180 degrees. Now when I put the actual gimbal down to its 90-degree position, it just doesn't work. The gimbal is constantly hunting to find balance, and I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong here. I've tried balancing the phone in this position, but that didn't work either. Now the funny thing is when I flick it back up to 180 degrees, unlock the top of the phone, or the top clamp should I say, it just works and it finds balance again. Now one interesting thing about this gimbal is that if you pull it apart at the handle, then it extends to a maximum of 53 centimeters, turning it into somewhat of a unique selfie stick gimbal. The base of the stick actually bends as well, so you can get some real decent kind of selfie action going on, especially if you've got a crowd of people or all of your friends behind you. You can get everyone in the frame all at once. So on the handle are 2 thumb buttons and a thumbstick, although the 2 buttons really only work when you're inside of the Zhiyun companion app. If you tap the left button once, it will recenter the phone, and 2 taps will swap between a vertical and horizontal perspective, which is a feature that I think is going to be quite popular with the TikTok crowd out there. 1 tap on the right button activates the recording, and pressing it again stops recording. Or with the partner app, the camera responds to gestures to control the gimbal, so you don't need to press anything if you didn't want to. So the thumbstick moves the head of the gimbal left and right and also rotates it. But because the Zhiyun Smooth X is only a 2-axis gimbal, there is no yaw, which is a little bit of a disappointment. On the right hand side of the grip, there is also a zoom rocker, which if you're using your right hand is very easy to reach with your thumb. If you are left-handed though, then you might struggle a little bit to reach comfortably. Now lastly, the power button can be found halfway up the stick, which is a nice place for it and avoids any accidental presses when in use. There's also a battery indicator light which shows how much juice the Zhiyun Smooth X has left. So the app is definitely an interesting one. It has everything you would expect for a mobile phone camera, like a standard mode with the ability to shoot at 720, 1080 and 4K at 30 frames per second. There's a time-lapse mode at the same resolutions, hyperlapse with a max resolution of 1080p and a max speed of 30 times the shot video, a photo mode and a panoramic photo mode. Now for some reason on Android, a slow motion feature is missing, which is a little disappointing. Not being able to produce some smooth slow motion action really seems like a missed trick. It is apparently available on iOS devices, as I've seen when researching the gimbal online. In reality though, I found the actual stabilization of this gimbal a mixed bag, especially for action shots as seen on our running test. Now granted, it's night and day difference between handheld and actually using the gimbal, but there is a jerky motion in vertical movement, and this comes down to the fact that the Zhiyun Smooth X is only a 2-axis gimbal. It's missing that yaw feature and it's noticeable. If it had this capability, then the footage would look a lot smoother. The gimbal worked far better when using it for those slow panning shots where slow movements are used, or even when walking. What the Zhiyun Partner app does do though is to have the ability to track a moving subject. However, in reality I found this to be pretty inaccurate. Now do bear in mind I was using a Google Pixel 4 XL when testing, and when I was tracking myself walking from left to right and also running from left to right, the app had issues actually tracking me, especially when I neared the sides of the screen. Also, if I ran fast, the app would lose me altogether. The app and gimbal also overcompensated a lot and decided I was still moving even though I had stopped within the frame. There's a few beauty modes too that will smooth out your skin and make yourself look skinnier in the face, although it wasn't good enough to completely eradicate this double chin. And lastly, you can stick on some rosy cheeks as well. So the last feature of the app aids you in creating short movies with decent transitions between each scene. The scenes consist of 2.5 seconds or so for each segment, and you can add as much footage as you want to the editor. But of course, keep it short for social media use. The editor feature is perfect for those wanting to make some quick and easy edits for social media, and the partner app gives you the ability to add your own footage to Zhiyun's own made templates, or even allows you to stick your own transitions in there between scenes. Now don't expect any kind of Premiere Pro type quality edits here. The user interface is a little fiddly, especially when it comes to shortening the clips that you have selected, but it does the job, and to be honest, if you put some time in planning your shoot, then you're definitely going to get a nice little video to share online. So with that in mind, there is a lot to love about the Zhiyun Smooth X gimbal, and its aid in creating smoother footage is definitely there, but it does come with problems. For me, the Y-axis or yaw movement is an absolute must, especially if you're going to be using this for run and gun action. Also, the fact that tracking was quite poor meant that it would be hard to recommend this to someone who's going to require the entire frame to capture action, like, for example, a skateboarder or a gymnast who would flip across the frame. This will, however, suit people who are part of the TikTok crowd down to a T if all they're going to be doing is some simple dance steps in front of the selfie lens, or even vloggers who are more than often going to be walking and talking to their phones, or those wanting to capture their trips in a slightly smoother, more cinematic way. So thank you very much for checking out my video review of the Zhiyun Smooth X mobile gimbal. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that like button. Please subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments down below what you think about the Zhiyun Smooth X. Would you go for something like this, or would you spend the extra money on an Osmo Mobile 3? As I said, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.